Woo! As you can see in front of me, I've got two Yamaha Tracer 9 GTs. On the right we have the brand new 2025 Tracer 9 GT, and on the left we have my 2023 Tracer 9 GT. This is the previous gen, this is the new gen. Let's see how they compare when ridden back to back. Cat. Hello little cat. Hello little cat. Right, so I'm going to ride my Tracer first. 810 to 825, you can adjust it, and this one is a lot higher. This is 845 to 865 I believe, but it has a narrower standover, so they might not feel all that different. So let's try mine first of all. I've got the comfort seat on mine, couldn't find the stock seat, so there we go. I think this is on the higher 825. I am on the balls of my feet, but yes, very upright riding position. Put your teeth in. Right, let's go and sit on the new one, see how that feels. So let's try this one. Even though this is narrow, it feels about the same, so it's got a higher seat height of 845 lower and 865 higher, but because it's narrower, they feel about the same. Tank shapes are a little bit different. Obviously there are many other changes. So on the new one we've got this big, massive, I think it's 7-inch TFT dash, as you can see there, which is really lovely, and the new switchgear as well. And I love this quick menu, so you can literally cycle through bits. You've got an adjustable electric windscreen, which is pretty cool. I like that. 100mm of adjustment, and it's not stepped, so you can literally just hold it to where you want it, basically. Heated grips are standard, cruise control, semi-active suspension as well. And then I can put this in the middle because you'll see the screens are a bit goggly-eyed. And the switchgear is very basic. Now this little menu wheel is what you use, and it's a right faff because once you press it in, it's really easy to also accidentally scroll. Let's start them up, see if they sound any different. Sounds pretty good. Kill that, and then we'll try this one. It sounds very similar. But I feel like this is a bit more whiny. It's got a bit more of a high-pitched squeak to it. That's what she said. Oh dear. Come on. Silly cat, you grounding at the doggies. Kids these days. Right, now that that's over, the biggest change, which you can see as I'm walking towards the bike, is this new matrix LED lighting system, which, let me tell you, that is unbelievably good. This system is still good. It's got cornering lights, as does this, but this, obviously, a load more lights, so it's a lot better at lighting the way at night time. Now, it's a bit more complex than that. I'll get into that on the review of this bike, but yeah. So I'm going to ride my bike first, and then I'll come back and ride the new GT, and we'll see what we think. Join me in a second. So, we're on my Tracer 9 GT. This is the previous gen, 2023 model, but it was the same in 2024. They didn't make any changes. The only change they made was on the GT Plus, and they had the new screen. Not that screen, funny enough, but it was a nicer screen for sure. But right, yeah, this whole video is basically, can I feel the difference between the two bikes? And to do that I need to ride this first. Now, I've ridden both bikes a lot because I own this one, and then I've ridden, God, the new one. I've probably done almost 1,000 miles. I don't know if it's that much actually, but it feels like it's that much. But you know, the Tracer 9 is a fantastic bit of kit. CP3 engine. They both make 117 horsepower. And I think it's 94 newton meters of torque. They both make power and torque exactly the same area. So even though the new Tracer 9 GT is now Euro 5 plus compliant, they've managed to still get the same amount of power out of it. So yeah, engine and torque, all that is the same. Perhaps they've tweaked the fueling somewhat, I don't know, but we'll see if we can feel any difference when I ride the other one. But you know, this CP3 engine is very torque rich, and it just feels really lovely. It's got so much grunt low down, and with the added benefit of also revving quite high and quite hard. Seating position, the only downside of this bike is that I feel like the seat kind of pitches you into the tank a little bit. Now, it is better than the old Tracer, where it was really quite pronounced that you are smashed into the tank. This is, like I said, I got the comfort seat on this one, which is still, it's quite hard. It's like sitting on a rock, but I think after a while that is better for me. Right, 20 miles an hour, second gear. It's got quite a nice amount of power delivery. Suspension isn't too bad in a suspension 2 mode. Watch out for the wildlife. It is a little bit bouncy, but these roads are not very smooth. So yeah, as I said, the seating position on this one, it does, after a while, you do feel like you need to kind of sit back and adjust. So what happens is, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but when I'm riding a bike for about an hour or so and I start to get those pain points, I you know, sort of sit up and adjust, and then what happens is things end up bunching up, and then you get in a real tricky situation where everything is the man bits are all getting squished and scrunched, and it actually makes it worse. And that's sometimes where standing up on the pegs and just shaking things loose, shall we say. I know that's a little bit in your face or on the nose, as it were, but we're all real people here. Yeah, so other changes for 2025 is the new Tracer is 7 kilograms heavier than this, and I'm guessing that's to do with the newer, longer subframe. It does look like there's a little bit more with the Matrix LED system, so that's going to add weight. You've got the Euro 5 Plus, so you know that's probably adding weight with the cats and stuff. Not those cats, the other type of cats, the bad cats. But yeah, let's right, third gear roll on, 30 miles an hour. Full open. That is just wonderful. What a wonderful thing. Oh, do you know what? Every time I ride this bike, I realise how blooming good it is. And the quick shifter, even though it's not their latest generation quick shifter, it's utterly brilliant. It's so smooth. I mean, just listen to this. And that's not their third gen, this is the second gen. And it's so easy, and you get a lot of satisfaction from flicking through the gears. It's quite, you get like a nice mechanical feeling. It's lovely, it's really good. And I know the third generation you can change it up and down at any point, on the revs, off the revs, it doesn't matter. Whereas I don't think you can on this one. No, so I'm on the revs, I can't change down, which you can do on the new one. Do you want to get on your side, pal? The braking, let's talk about braking performance. We'll give it a bit of a... They're not terrible, but the initial bite just isn't there. It's quite a wooden feel. Yeah, you can feel ABS get involved there. Woo! It does get a little bit out of shape sometimes when you really do ride it like a bit of a wally. Right, let's change over to, we'll go D mode 1, A1. So that's harder suspension and more direct, I don't know if that's the right word, but more aggressive power delivery. Feel that a little bit, it's a little bit sharper. Not sure about the suspension. Woohoo! Got a bit of air there. Right, yes. Comfort. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. So I'm going to jump on the motorway as well, just quickly, and see what it feels like at 70 doing, you know, because it's a touring bike, right? So you want to do some kind of touring on it. So we'll see what that feels like. This is in the lower position at the moment, and it's a manual change. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back and ride the new Tracer 9 GT and see if there's anything immediate. Yeah, the brakes are just a little bit meh. which you could change, you know, you could sort that out with some new pads. So yeah, 70-ish miles an hour. Yeah, and a little bit of buffeting on my elbows and a little bit just at the top of my head. But what we can do is put this in the higher position, and that makes the buffeting worse. Yeah, that makes it worse. It might be quieter though, but it seems to aggravate the buffeting a little bit. Doesn't feel too bad right now. Feels pretty reasonable. So what I'll do is I'll jump on the new Tracer 9 and we'll give that a go, see how she fares. See you in a bit. Okay, so now we're on the brand new 2025 Tracer 9 GT. And it kind of feels like I'm a bit higher up, and that would make sense because the seat height is 20 millimeters, 30 millimeters. It's around 30 millimeters higher in the base lowest setting, but it does go up to 865, I think. Yeah, it does feel rather different. Actually, the seating position also, it just feels like a bigger bike. Like, I feel way more upright, and I think they've changed the bar position, so you're a bit less leaning forward, which I didn't really notice actually while I was riding my bike. But again, this is why these back-to-back comparisons are so useful. So I feel a bit more like I'm on a big adventure bike than I am on a sports tourer. I'm just going to put the screen up a bit just to hopefully cut some of that wind noise out for you guys. So we're currently in street mode, which is the closest, oh goodness, the closest I can find to A2 suspension mode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lovely horsies. Yeah, so on my bike it was like A1, A2 with the different suspension modes, which you still do have. If you go into the menu, you can see A1, A2 reference, so those are still there. However, you've got the riding modes, was it rain, street and sport, which is just easier to understand, isn't it? So you know that street is going to be softer and rain's going to be softer, and sport's going to be harder and more aggressive on the throttle as well. So I think all the you know, D1, D2, A1, A2, they're still behind the scenes. They've just wrapped it in the rider modes, which is just a lot simpler, rather than having to change not only the suspension but the drive mode as well. It's yeah, I think that's a really good a really good change. The brakes feel like they've got more bite. It's exactly this, as far as I know, it's exactly the same brakes, Advics, and the same disc size at the front. We've got a bigger rear disc actually. 3rd gen quickshifter is lovely. Yeah, it just feels like a physically bigger bike. Now that, I mean, it is physically a bigger bike. You've got a 50mm longer subframe to give rider and passenger a bit more room. And do you know what? I didn't think I would feel it, but I really do. I feel much, like I said, I feel like I'm on a big adventure bike that's got sporty handling than I do on a sports tourer. Right, 2nd gear. I also think it feels less raw than the previous gen. It's less, I don't think that's a placebo effect. I do feel like it's not as eager to, I know it makes the same power and torque, but to me it just feels a little not as quick. I don't know, just feels a bit softer. We will go into the sports mode though to see what that feels like. Suspension, I think this feels a bit plusher. I did go through all the press specs and I couldn't see any changes, but I think the damping has been changed, because this feels a lot plusher than my bike. I think this sounds a little bit quieter as well because it's got more Euro 5 gubbins in the exhaust system. That's either a good or a bad thing depending on what you think about Euro emissions and all that stuff. I'm not going to comment on what I think. The seat, oh god, I'm getting the same issue with bunching up, but it is less pronounced on this seat. Now, It is a little bit of an unfair comparison because my bike has the comfort seat. However, I don't find this seat all that comfortable. I can feel the pinch points after about 20 minutes of riding on this new one. And I actually did a recent tour, and yeah, after an hour I couldn't stand it any longer. I had to get off. Right, here we go. Third gear, 30 miles an hour. Yeah, it just feels a bit less urgent to me. Feels like you have to rev it a bit harder. But I think those brakes are more aggressive. I don't know what they've done. It could just be pad material they've changed. It's highly possible. But yeah, those feel a lot more bitey and aggressive. I like it. Do come along, Jeffrey. Quick shifter is effortless, and you can go up or down when you're off the throttle, on the throttle, whatever you want. Actually, let's go into sport mode, which is nice and easy. You just literally go boop, boop, boop. So you've got 3 standard modes, and then you've got 2 customizable modes which you can fanny about with. So let's do a third gear roll on again. Right, here we go. 30 miles an hour. So that feels more like it. They've made sport the most aggressive, and they've made street a lot less aggressive, and then rain even more so, which I think makes sense, because on my bike I would say all the modes between suspension and the drive mode, between 1 and 2, they're almost identical. I can't really feel much difference, but on this bike I certainly can. So yeah, this bike is 7 kilos heavier, and if you go for the YAMT, that's an extra 3 or 4 kilos on top of that. Pillion comfort, my lady finds my bike to be very comfortable, so this has got even more room, so I'd imagine she would find this even more comfortable. Kind of logically speaking, I guess that makes sense. It tracks, you know. Baseball, huh? Let's get up to speed. Okay, so 70-ish miles an hour, just under 5,000 RPM. I feel like the wind buffeting is a bit better. I'll put the screen in the lower position, see what that sounds like. Oh yeah, that's a lot louder. But that's more like riding a naked bike, so it's very clean air, not really any buffeting. I'll put it back up. I mean, that's pretty good actually. And as I said, I did a 6-hour round trip on this bike, and in terms of wind buffeting and wind noise, it was absolutely fine. I mean, I'd say it was good, not just fine, it was good. I think that's a good improvement they've made over the previous generation. Yes, all in all. Oh, you've got the keyless ignition as well on this one. Tank sizes are about the same. This bike has a slightly larger tank, 0.3 litres bigger, so this is 19 litres, whereas mine's 18.7. That's not going to make that much difference in the real world. You know, perhaps if you're on vapors it would, but yeah, for the most part it's the same, and you get about 200 miles out of a tank, a little bit more or a little bit less depending on how you ride the thing. Comfort is an issue, I think, on this bike, on both of them. This one you're not pitched into the tank as much, but this stock seat is not comfortable after an hour. I really don't like it. But I guess you could change that if you so wanted to. I think it would be easier on this bike to sort that out than on my bike, because on my bike you've also got the issue where you're pitched into the tank a bit more, and they've addressed that on this bike. They've flattened the seat, giving it a little bit more padding, which I can feel. I can definitely feel that there's more padding. However, I find it's quite a soft seat, so ergo I don't cope well with soft seats. So maybe this with the comfort seat would be a lot better. I do need to see if I can get a comfort seat and test it again. But alas, some decent upgrades for this year for sure. Price wise, this is about 14,500, I want to say. If you go for the Y AMT, there's an extra £1,000 there. Not sure if that's worth it or not for you. However, there are some awesome deals on the previous generation Tracer, where Yamaha are also offering £2,000 off, so you can get that bike, which is the same shape design as mine, with the hard cases and everything. Both of these bikes come with hard cases. Yeah, you can get the previous gen for about 11 grand, just over, which I think is an absolute bargain, and it really doesn't help the fact that I'm selling my Tracer 9. I would also say the clutch actuation on this new version is a lot smoother. On my bike, as you're pulling away, you can feel juddering, and that's done it since day one, so it's just a feature of the bike, shall we say, whereas this feels a lot smoother. Both bikes also have heated grips, cruise control, an IMU, so lean sensitive bits and pieces, quick shifter. On this bike you've got the Garmin Street Cross integration, so you can do wireless full navigation on the screen. They also have a Yamaha Motorize app, or Garmin Motorize app, I can't remember which one it is. I've not tested that yet. It is a bit faffy, I'll be honest with you. I have tried to use it on my trip, and because I was running late, it was just such a faff of downloading apps, downloading maps. It was a real pain in the bum. But I'm imagining once you set it once, you're good. I love the menu system on this bike. I think the little quick menu thing is awesome. Really handy. Because you can go in there while you're riding, you can adjust your screen, you can zip over and you can stick your heated grips on. You've got 3 different themes, which I can show you because it's so easy. There's one theme, and you can see the reference to the suspension A1 mode there, because we're in sport mode. There's the other theme. That's from the last generation's GT Plus, and then my personal favourite, this one, which is just nice and clean. As I said, both bikes come with hard cases. They are a bit of an awkward shape, so you're not going to be able to get a full face helmet in either of them. Yeah, so they are very, very similar still. However, what I would say is this new Tracer 9 GT feels like a physically bigger bike, because it is. It's a bit heavier, it's a bit longer at the back, it's a bit taller in the seat. The standover is actually narrower, so my feet seemed to have the same kind of reach to the floor, which is really good. I feel like my knees are perhaps a little bit more comfortable. Engine performance in sport mode is, identical pretty much. I feel like this bike might be ever so slightly quieter. That wouldn't be a surprise, because it's Euro 5 guffins. Both bikes suffer from a little bit of a weird vibration issue. Now, it's not a vibration from the engine, it's a vibration from the road. It's better on this bike, but you do get this weird sort of secondary vibration which comes back up through the forks, through these massive risers and out towards the end of the bar ends. You can see it when you go over a bump, you can see the ends wobbling around. You can see it in the mirrors as well, I can feel it. I really wish they'd have fixed that, because on a longer trip, if you're going on bumpy roads, it does get quite annoying. Almost feels like the bars are like clattering in your hands. It's definitely more pronounced on my bike, and it's slightly better on this, but it's not fixed. I think they just need to do a bit more damping on the risers or something, or use thicker material for the handlebars perhaps. Not sure, but yes, it's something worth mentioning, because I think on a longer journey you will probably notice it. And I don't notice that sort of thing on many other bikes. In fact, the only other bike I ever remember having the issue was the 2017 CB500X, and then they fixed that with the 2019 version. It was gone. The issue was gone, and they changed the way the bars were done. They had added a lot more damping. Yeah, so I don't know, it depends what you're after really. Both bikes are really good. The previous generation feels a bit sportier. This feels a bit more upright, a bit more touring focused rather than sport. Comfort-wise, I would say both are around about the same. I think this one might be comfier with a comfort seat, because it's a little bit flatter seat. As it stands, with my one and the comfort seat, I would still need to ride no more than an hour on both of these bikes, and I would need to have a break. An hour and a half, I think I would be really struggling. However, the big change is that matrix LED system, which is literally night and day. Ha ha ha. What a pun. So I will insert some footage here, low beam, high beam performance. It is flipping incredible how good these lights are. So if you're doing a lot of riding at night, this is the bike you need to get, because I've never known such good lights. Yes, thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been a little bit useful. Obviously these reviews are all just my opinion, that's just the way it is. But if you do go out today, do ride safely, but remember to have fun, of course, otherwise what is the point? You take care, and peace.